Dr. Amanda Cross massaged her weary eyes as she focused on the glowing computer display before her. The Aribo 2 Deep Space Communications Array emitted a soft hum around her during yet another long night shift. For 3 weeks, she had been monitoring strange transmissions from the stars, but this one felt distinctly different from all previous signals. The coffee in her cup had long since gone cold, though she hardly paid attention. Her hands flew across the keyboard while she examined the constant stream of data from the enormous radio telescope outside. The transmission originated somewhere near the star Vega, and it was unmistakably artificial. Someone, or something, was sending messages across the void, and Earth had intercepted them by chance. Amanda called over to her co-worker stationed on the far side of the room. Jake Morrison was no scientist like her, but a lieutenant commander from Naval Intelligence assigned to assist with the project. After several incidents involving foreign spies stealing technology, the government had placed military personnel inside every major research site. Jake came over and peered at the screen behind her shoulder. His expertise lay in code breaking and covert signals, so Amanda hoped he might notice something she had overlooked. The transmission was heavily encrypted, and she had spent days trying to break its meaning. What she did know was simple. It repeated in the same sequence again and again every few hours. Amanda pointed at the alien-looking symbols scrolling down her display, explaining to Jake that this could not be random noise from space. The order was far too precise and far too complex to be random. Someone was transmitting this deliberately, using an advanced encryption method to conceal its meaning. Jake examined the feed for several minutes in silence. His background had trained him to identify hidden structures where others might overlook them. He noticed sections of the signal that followed strict mathematical sequences, while other fragments resembled positional data. After nearly an hour of work, he proposed they attempt some military-grade decryption techniques he was familiar with. Amanda agreed at once. By now, she had run through every conventional scientific method without success. Jake linked his secure naval laptop to her system and began processing the signal through different decoding software the Navy employed to intercept hostile transmissions. The first tests produced only gibberish, but then something unexpected happened. A program specialized in breaking enemy codes suddenly began generating coherent text, not English, but symbolic, characters arranged in patterns that made logical sense. Amanda and Jake stared at the screen in shock as the alien transmission gradually translated itself. Captain Lisa Bennett arrived at the station just as Amanda and Jake were achieving their breakthrough. Acting as the military liaison on the project, she had been summoned once the signal was flagged as a potential security threat. A veteran of Afghanistan and Iraq before her assignment to science operations, Lisa contributed a practical soldier's perspective to their work. She studied the decoded fragments scrolling across the display and instantly grasped the gravity of the discovery. This message was never directed toward Earth. It was communication exchanged between two alien factions maneuvering through human territory. Embedded in the text were star coordinates that corresponded precisely with the solar system. Amanda detailed their findings so far. The transmission seemed to be instructions exchanged between two massive fleets. The senders called themselves the Hegemony and the Collective, ancient rivals locked in warfare for countless ages. Their conflict had consumed entire systems. Jake highlighted translated sections that specifically referenced Earth. To these aliens, humanity was irrelevant. They regarded the planet only as a convenient battlefield, where their struggle could conclude unchallenged. The signal was explicit. Humans were nothing more than primitive obstacles, destined to be brushed aside. Lisa's fury rose as she read deeper into the translation. The aliens intended to stage their final conflict on Earth. They had selected the solar system under the assumption it lacked intelligent life. To them, humans were nothing more than native animals occupying a world they required. The most chilling detail was the casual way they spoke of annihilating human civilization. They referred to eliminating biological contamination before their fleets arrived. Their plan was to sterilize the planet so their warships could land and fight without interference from the local fauna. Amanda calculated the schedule using the coordinates and routes encoded in the signal. The alien scouts would reach Earth in about 6 months. The main fleets would follow less than a year later. That left humanity with almost no time to prepare for what lay ahead. Jake noted a critical flaw in their assumption. They believed Earth lacked technology capable of intercepting their transmissions. The possibility that so-called primitives were eavesdropping and uncovering their strategies had never crossed their minds. This granted humans the advantage of foreknowledge. Lisa immediately grasped the military weight of such intelligence. She reached for the secure line linking the facility directly to the Pentagon. The President and Joint Chiefs had to be alerted at once. All of humanity was imperiled, and precious little time remained to organize a defense. While Lisa made her calls, Amanda and Jake pressed on decoding additional fragments of the alien message. Each piece revealed further details about the magnitude and capabilities of the advancing forces. Both factions wielded technologies far beyond anything humanity possessed. Their ships crossed interstellar space in weeks, and their armaments could level cities. Yet Amanda also noticed a detail in the transmissions that stirred hope. The rival fleets hated each other far more than they cared about Earth. Their communications showed an obsession with defeating their ancient foe over dealing with humanity. That fixation might be a weakness humans could exploit. Jake proposed that if humans could intercept alien traffic, perhaps they could also inject false messages. The same encryption system functioned in both directions, and with their new understanding, deception might be possible. Such tactics could turn the invasion into catastrophe for the aliens rather than for Earth. Lisa returned from her calls, informing them military transports were inbound to secure the installation and relocate their research to a fortified site. The alien threat was now classified at the highest levels, and they would work directly with the government henceforth. As they prepared to leave, Amanda cast one final glance at the alien text crawling across her monitor. The signal was never meant for humanity, yet they had intercepted it regardless. Now it was time to prove what happened when outsiders threatened Earth and underestimated its people. President Helen Rodriguez stood before the United Nations Emergency Assembly, staring at the leaders gathered in just 48 hours. The session had been called after fragments of the transmission leaked to several global agencies. She now had to reveal the full truth of what awaited Earth. The president began by stating that U.S. intelligence had intercepted communications between two warring alien factions planning to use Earth as a battlefield. She could see disbelief etched on faces as she explained that the aliens viewed humans as animals to be cleared before their war began. Some delegates whispered in alarm, while others sat frozen in silence. General Robert Hayes stepped forward with the military assessment drafted by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. A veteran strategist who had spent decades preparing for human wars, he now faced something entirely alien. He outlined that both incoming fleets possessed technology centuries beyond Earth's. Their warships could cross stars in weeks, while humanity still required years to reach nearby planets. Their weapons could obliterate entire cities from orbit, and their shielding rendered current human arms useless. In a direct confrontation, Earth stood no chance, within hours of the alien arrival. Dr. Samuel Carter of the Department of Energy rose to address the assembly. He had been advancing theoretical physics programs that only months earlier seemed impossible. Now those same concepts had become humanity's only hope for survival. He explained that experimental fusion drive engines might grant Earth ships the speed necessary to wage war in space. The breakthrough had come directly from analysis of the alien transmission. Hidden within the signals were technical blueprints describing how their vessels maneuvered across the stars. Human scientists were racing to adapt this knowledge for planetary defense systems. Progress was steady, but the clock was relentless. Dr. Carter presented simulations of what Earth's fleet might look like in 6 months. The new craft would be smaller, faster than alien warships, but would have to rely on unconventional tactics to survive. Humanity could never match the enemy through strength alone. Their only chance lay in deception and surprise, as news of the looming threat began slipping. Beyond classified circles, an unexpected response unfolded across the globe. Rather than collapse into panic, humanity began organizing for resistance. Factory laborers took extra shifts to build defensive arms. Scientists exchanged discoveries freely between nations that had once been bitter rivals. Dr. Maria Santos led one of the most vital teams, hidden beneath Nevada's desert in a fortified research complex. Her scientists were designing weapons based on quantum physics, producing energy beams capable of piercing alien shields. The work was perilous, with multiple experiments ending in explosions that shook the mountains above. Still, Santos and her exhausted crew pressed on 18-hour days, knowing humanity's survival depended on their progress. They discovered alien defenses relied on frequencies that followed repeating patterns. If humanity created weapons with shifting energy signatures, alien shields might fail to adjust quickly. Meanwhile, research centers worldwide pursued other critical tasks. German engineers designed starship hulls able to bend light, rendering them nearly invisible. Japanese scientists built computer systems faster than any human pilot, giving an edge in space combat. The most ambitious undertaking was in orbit, where crews constructed something never before attempted. Using lunar and asteroid resources, they assembled a hidden web of weapon platforms stationed across the solar system. This network would allow Earth forces to strike from multiple angles. Colonel Susan Blake oversaw ground preparations within every major city. A veteran of counterinsurgency wars, she now taught civilian volunteers the same guerrilla tactics once used against her soldiers. She briefed officials that every building must be a stronghold. Tunnels were being dug to link vital sites, and secret caches of supplies were hidden in case of siege. If orbital defenses collapsed, Earth itself would become a nightmare battlefield for invaders. Children as young as 12 practiced survival drills, while adults learned weapons handling and radio coordination. Alien technology might be superior, but they would discover that humans were stubbornly hard to defeat when defending their homes. Intelligence officer Peter Morgan worked on what could be the decisive project. His analysts had learned to exploit the alien communication grid itself. This breakthrough allowed them to insert false signals into both fleets and manipulate their movements. His plan, codenamed Operation Mockingbird, involved fabricating distress calls and battle reports to turn each faction against the other. If they could trick both sides into believing the enemy had already reached Earth and was preparing an ambush, the fleets might arrive expecting to battle one another rather than target humanity first. The plan demanded flawless timing and a sharp grasp of alien culture, warfare, and honor codes. Peter had pored over every fragment of intercepted data to piece together alien psychology and military tradition. He was convinced their ancient rivalry could be twisted into a weapon. As months slipped by, Earth became a place unrecognizable from the year before. Cities that once competed for profit now exchanged resources and knowledge freely. Nations formerly preparing to fight each other now built defenses side by side against a shared enemy. Long-range scanners positioned at the solar system's edge finally picked up the first alien scouts arriving from interstellar space. The invaders, who dismissed humans as little more than beasts, were about to discover Earth had listened carefully and prepared a brutal surprise. The insects they expected to crush were ready to prove what happened when predators threatened their hive. 9 months had passed since Dr. Amanda Cross cracked the alien code, and Earth was transformed. Admiral Patricia Cole stood inside the command bunker, hollowed beneath the lunar surface, reviewing reports streaming in from defense posts scattered across the system. The underground base had been carved from bedrock in mere months, using newly developed mining tools that surpassed anything humanity had ever created. She studied the tactical screen mapping the positions of the Earth Defense Fleet. 200 ships floated at concealed stations where alien scanners could not detect them. Each represented years of ordinary construction compressed into frantic months by shipyards working without pause. Humanity's survival hinged on their speed. These ships looked nothing like earlier space vehicles. Their hulls were fabricated with materials that bent light, rendering them nearly invisible to enemy sensors. Their drives were fusion systems, reverse-engineered from alien designs embedded in stolen transmissions. Most importantly, each vessel carried weapons unlike any the galaxy had seen. Dr. Kevin Walsh had led the project that produced this unprecedented arsenal. His chaos weapons shifted their energy frequencies thousands of times per second in random sequences. Alien defenses had been engineered to adapt, but only with time to analyze incoming fire. Chaos technology changed so rapidly the shields could never adjust. Tests on mock warships outfitted with replicated alien defenses had confirmed the results. Shields that easily stopped old human weapons collapsed in seconds under chaos fire. For millennia, the aliens had perfected defenses against familiar foes, yet none were prepared for what humanity now fielded. Admiral Cole received a priority communique from Colonel Susan Blake, who oversaw Earth's surface defenses. Every metropolis now sheltered vast underground bunkers for millions. More importantly, civilians themselves had been drilled to fight with methods no conventional army expected. Her report noted hidden stockpiles buried across continents. Should the aliens land, they would find humanity striking from shadows, armed and unpredictable. Space might belong to the invaders, but the ground would remain humanity's domain. Factory crews were instructed to destroy their own machines rather than surrender them. Teachers were training covert cells able to operate even if communications were lost. Children had been taught to survive among ruins until resistance forces could reclaim. The boldest element of Earth's defense was Operation Mockingbird, now finally set into motion. Analyst Peter Morgan had devoted months to dissecting alien psychology and military culture through intercepted signals. He was convinced he understood how each faction viewed war, pride, and vengeance, and how that ancient rivalry could be turned against them. His unit constructed transmitters able to mimic authentic alien encryption and frequencies, capable of injecting forged battle updates into enemy networks. Carefully crafted reports of phantom fleets and false deployments were timed to reach both factions simultaneously. The goal: make each force believe their sworn adversaries had already arrived at Earth. Timing was everything. The deception had to align with the alien armada's approach, so they would converge, expecting to clash with each other, not humanity. That illusion would give Admiral Cole's fleet the vital minutes needed to strike from prepared positions. Meanwhile, Dr. Maria Santos continued forging weapons in her hidden laboratory while the defense fleet launched. Her most recent innovation was an array of disguised platforms scattered across the asteroid belt and outer planets. They resembled harmless debris, yet housed devastating weaponry, primed to awaken by command. Any invaders would unknowingly drift past them, vulnerable to sudden crossfire. Even if Earth's navy fell, the platforms could wage war alone. Captain Danny Rivera commanded one of the stealth destroyers forming the fleet's core. His vessel, the Retribution, lurked near Neptune to intercept scouts before they reached the inner system. Its hull absorbed scans, its engines masked heat, making it a phantom in space. Rivera's crew had drilled relentlessly, mastering tactics built on human cunning and unpredictability. They lacked raw firepower, so they embraced ambushes and feints, hoping to convince enemies they faced far more ships than existed. Then sensors flared. Alien scouts emerged at the system's edge. First came the Hegemony, their colossal crystalline, ships glittering like jewels, though to human eyes they were only fragile targets. Admiral Cole observed as more signals filled the display. Hours later, the collective arrived, proving Operation Mockingbird had worked. Both rival fleets, misled by false intelligence, had appeared nearly together, each convinced the other already menaced Earth. Scouts advanced inward. Unaware human eyes followed their every move. Rivera received authorization to strike first. His ship crept into position, set to confront the lead hegemony vessel. Soon the invaders would learn that the animals they intended to erase had laid a trap of steel and fire. The hegemony scout, Inevitable Dawn, dropped out of FTL near Neptune in a flare of blue. Commander Seth Tal stood upon his crystalline bridge, certain the mission was routine. Scan the third world, locate any intelligent species, and report for the fleet's arrival. His kind were living crystal, faceted forms scattering light in dazzling arrays. For 3 millennia, they had battled the collective, crushing countless primitives along the way. Earth, he believed, would be no different. He ordered his scanners to chart the system, starting outward. The results matched expectations until anomalies appeared. 3 objects moved toward them, invisible to most sensors, warping light itself. Tal had never witnessed stealth this refined from any so-called primitives. For the first time, unease stirred. Aboard the Retribution, Rivera studied his oblivious quarry. His destroyer drifted silently, conserving heat and energy, while 2 allies closed from other vectors. Then he transmitted, using the invader's own codes and tongue. His words were simple: "Leave now, or be destroyed." Commander Tal froze, disbelief surging through his crystalline form. The primitives not only commanded FTL communication, they spoke flawless hegemony military language. According to all records, such knowledge was impossible. Shaken, he crafted a reply. With the standard hegemony protocol for dealing with lesser species, Commander Seth Tal broadcast his ultimatum. He demanded Earth's surrender and threatened to annihilate any vessel that dared resist. To him, humans were primitives, expected to scatter in terror at the sight of a true hegemony warship. But Captain Rivera had enough. The skies above Mars ignited as they opened fire. Precision lances from hegemony crystal warships carved through swarms, while collective organisms swirled and tore enemies apart with living weapons that latched, drilled, and consumed. Space itself burned like a second sun. Cole waited, patient, cold. The fleet scattered across millions of kilometers, locked in blood feud and blind to the third predator in their midst. This was the moment humanity had labored 9 desperate months to create. Her order launched the largest coordinated strike in Earth's history. Asteroid fields came alive, defense platforms shedding camouflage, spewing chaos beams into the unsuspecting armadas. The disguised debris revealed itself as humanity's knife in the dark. Captain Danny Rivera led the first wave, stealth destroyers appearing like ghosts among the alien ranks. Their concentrated chaos fire shredded the biggest targets. Hegemony. Shields, which had withstood millennia of war, collapsed in seconds against the random frequency shifts. Crystalline hulls, harder than diamond, fractured and shattered under weapons no alien engineer had imagined. The collective fared no better. Their regeneration failed under chaos strikes, the random patterns unraveling tissues faster than they could regrow. The hive mind faltered, flooded with something new: fear. From Earth, Dr. Kevin Walsh watched his impossible theories scythe through both ancient technologies. Human improvisation had outmatched galactic science. The second wave struck, Captain. Rachel Torres brought the heavy fleet from hiding in the gas giant's shadows, their massive chaos cannons aimed directly at the alien flagships. Fleet Marshal Corvin's throne of crystal trembled under the assault. His tactical systems, unmatched in recorded history, could not decipher the chaotic energy. His pride shattered alongside his flagship. Hive Admiral Zyfex reeled as his neural net unraveled. Collective ships slipped from his grip, reverting to instinct, scattering in panic. Humanity, those primitives, were faster, sharper, merciless. General Robert Hayes coordinated Earth's defenses as desperate alien stragglers pierced the orbital slaughter and fell planetward. They found not prey, but Fortress Earth. Surface to orbit. Batteries lit the skies. Fighters screamed upward. Colonel Susan Blake led ground units, erupting from tunnels and hidden caches. Every city had been engineered into a death trap. Every civilian knew how to fight. The invaders discovered humanity had studied occupation warfare and perfected it. For 3 days, the war raged. Then silence. 2 galactic superpowers lay broken. Above Earth, their wreckage drifting like a shattered crown. Thousands of alien ships annihilated. Humanity's losses were real, but light beyond hope. Chaos weapons and stealth had rewritten the rules of war. On his bridge, Captain Rivera watched the last survivors limp toward the abyss, bearing news back to empires that would never forget. Earth was no longer prey. The signal had never been meant for humans, yet they had answered with fury enough to shake the galaxy. The age of human expansion was beginning, built on one truth carved in fire. Earth's children did not go quietly into the dark.